All right, everybody, it's your boy Genius out at the range. Miss Amanda is here, but she's hiding. I'll get her to shoot the Rost a little bit later. I think she'll enjoy it. But I have the Rost Martin RM1c Comp. Okay, now you know everybody's doing the comp thing now, and I have had one of these Rost Martins in the past that I did a review on, and you know it was reliable, completely reliable, accurate enough. Decent, you know, not anything I was compelled to keep. I don't have it anymore. I did sell it, so I don't have one to compare it to, but I did have a lot of fun shooting this gun today, and there'll be some things that I talk about that I'll, you know, revisit in the next video as to whether or not it's gotten better, worse, whatever. But either way, before we get started talking about the specs of this gun, you've already saw some of the shooting. I'll overlay with more shooting, and I have put 100, actually it's probably been more like about 115 rounds through it. When I was zeroing the dot, it took a few more shots because I don't have a co-witness. Just want to make sure that you know Jesus Christ is your Savior, the most important decision you will ever make in your existence. There is no other decision that matters more than to know for sure you'll have a home in heaven if you were to pass from this earth, from this life to the next. Reach out to me at gsquaredtactical@gmail.com and allow me to share the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Do not procrastinate anymore. Today is the day of salvation. If you like what Amanda and I do, run over to Patreon, click on the link in the right hand corner of the screen, and consider supporting us monthly over there. Really just any amount that you would like to. It is a reoccurring charge, and I do upload everything over there. If you want to make a one-time non-reoccurring donation, you can go to our website. Also click on the link in the right hand corner of the screen, gsquaredtactical.com. Pick up some merchandise. In the left hand corner of the screen, you can click on the 3 lines. A scroll will pop down. It'll say support the channel. Click right there, and it's pretty self-explanatory after that. And we do get the most of that donation, and it has no choice but to go back into the channel and doing what we do. So what do I have? The Rost Martin RM1c Comp. Okay, some folks asked for me to review this in the comment section in light of all of the comped guns, or ported, I don't know why they call them comp, the ported guns. Someone, actually quite a few someones asked me if I could review this gun. Okay, found it's a relatively new release for them. The MSRP is $469. Naturally, at some point in time, you're probably going to be able to pick it up for around $399. I paid, or actually traded for it, but the guy was asking $450. So at very good price point, right there where it needs to be. Okay. The color on this is black stone gray, or you can black obviously on this one, but you can also get stone gray or FDE polymer frame. Of course, the grip width is 1.1 inches. The length is 7.1 inches. The slide is a nitro carbonized steel slide, 4-inch hammer forged barrel. The sights are serrated in the back, of course, and white dot on the front are not night sights. It does have one 15-round magazine and one 17-round magazine. The weight on this is 21.1 ounces with the flush mag, and 21.5 with the extended magazine. The trigger pull is 5 pounds. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. And the height on this is 5 inches in general with the flush mag, and 5.5 with the extended mag. And of course a little taller than that with the optic. It is optic ready, and it does come with a RMR mounting plate in the box. It is a metal mounting plate, no plastic. Okay, decent mounting system. It is secure is what I'm trying to say. However, because it does not sit low into the slide like a lot of others do, of course you do not have a co-witness. I don't know of an optic that you would actually get a co-witness with, because it does not have suppressor height sights. Okay, and they are dovetailed in on the front and the rear, so I'm sure they are proprietary, as are the magazines. Okay, so we'll start at the bottom where we typically start at the top. It does have 3 interchangeable back straps. You do have to drive the pin out, much like on a CZ. I think even the Canic is that way. It's not as easy to change out as is maybe on the Smith & Wesson or the Springfield Echelon. You will have to take a punch and drive that pin out, which is easy enough to do. It does have a small, medium, and large, and I put the small on there, okay? I do like the texturing on it. For me, the texturing is just right. It is the happy medium for me, okay? Overall, it feels well in the hand. Extremely deep beaver tail here. Just like I like, one of the biggest reasons why a CZ fits me so well in the hand. And it is nicely undercut here on the bottom of the trigger guard. Nice squared off trigger guard, very large trigger guard, so you will have no issues whatsoever getting your fingers in there if you were shooting with gloves or anything of that nature. It does have an ambi mag release, does have a ambi slide lock, and it takes down just like a Glock would take down, okay? It has a 3-slot accessory rail, and it does have front and rear serrations, and they are very much functional, okay? Nothing special about them. They look very much like the Gen 5 Glocks, okay? Just straight up and down, but they're functional. They're functional, very easy to manipulate the slide back and forth, okay? As you can see, it has a huge port in the front. It's a little bit bigger than the port on the Echelon, a little bit bigger than the port on the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Carry Comp. Not quite as large of a port, a big chunk port up there as what you have on the CZ. It is serrated across the top, and it does have serrations on the front of the trigger guard as well. So let's see, what else do we want to talk about on this thing? Does have memory pads on there. It is a metal guide rod, so no plastic on that. That's a very good thing in my opinion. Again, does have the, I wouldn't call them gas pedals, although they are very usable and functional. They do have the memory pads up there, and it does have the yellow follower in the magazine. Okay, I think we went through the features of the gun. It does come in a nice box, okay, a nice molded cardboard box. Like I said, it does have not only just the plate, but the screws to mount the plate and the screws to mount your RMR inside the box with it, with an owner's manual and a lock, of course, and as mentioned, 3 interchangeable back straps, okay? So let's watch one of the accuracy shootings. And before we talk about the trigger, let's just watch one of the accuracy shootings here, and let's just see how accurate the thing is. Okay, so as you can see, stupid accurate at about 12 yards. I wasn't shooting super slow, wasn't shooting super fast like I normally shoot. It was very accurate, was easy to stay on target. The more I shoot it, like I said, I've only put 100 rounds through it, so the more I shoot it, obviously the better I'm becoming with it. More able to shoot a little faster and so forth, but still not bad for the first 100 rounds, and having not shot a Rost Martin in probably about 2 years. I thought it did fine. I was able to shoot really quickly with it, okay? Really, 2 gripes, only 2 gripes that I really have with the gun. It is American made down in Dallas, Texas, and certainly that would account for the price tag. As you know, some people would say that, you know, hey, $489 or whatever it is not necessarily budget friendly, say like a Taurus or something, but it is, you know, try to remember it is American made, so you are going to pay a little bit more for that. But the only gripes that I have is I wish they would have put some suppressor height sights or some sights that are high enough to co-witness with the optic. Maybe find in the future some way to direct mount, flush mount without a plate, so that we can you know, get a co-witness with the sights that are currently on there. Somehow or another, find a way for us to get a co-witness with this thing, or make a plate with an integrated, sight built into it. I'm not sure. You just know that I'm a snob about not having a co-witness, okay? The second gripe was the trigger, and the trigger's a little bit weird. When I say it's a gripe, it has potential. I did a little video on that. Let's check that out right fast. All right, so let's talk about the trigger, okay? When I first started shooting this gun and I was zeroing my dot, it became quite frustrating because I'm very OCD. I like it to be dead center. Even if I have to rest it on the tripod there, it has to be dead center, and it has to be dead center 3 times, or I'm just gonna keep on tinkering with it until it is, or rule myself out of the equation. But what it was is that the trigger has potential, okay? But while I was pulling the trigger back, to the wall, it's super gritty. Probably the grittiest trigger that I have had in recent hit. I can't think of another trigger that was more gritty, okay? Not even the Smith & Wesson 2.0 carry comp that I just done. Way grittier than that, okay? And in your progression back to the wall, it would, right before maybe 3/4 of the way to the wall, it would have this catch, almost as if like it was raking across a burr or something. I'm not really sure. It would have this catch that you would have to pull through, and when you done that, it would break, okay? And it was causing me to push, it was causing me to pull left. It was really aggravating me, okay? I sat here and I done this number here, and it definitely seems to have gotten better. But when you're trying to be very precise and just get right on paper, it was becoming quite aggravating, okay? Now I will say that I opened it up and I put some oil on the trigger bar, stuff like that. I don't have any way to sand it out here at the range with me, and we just have to be honest about how I found it, how it came in the box. But what I mean by the trigger has potential, so we'll look at the trigger here. It does have a center blade safety. A lot of grit in that trigger still yet, even with the oil. There's that little catch. I don't know if it picked up on camera, but there was that little catch. Then it touches the wall right there, okay? When it hits the wall, it breaks right there. And it's a very crisp break right on the wall. That's one of the reasons I say it has potential. Go to the reset. I mean, super short. Not canic short, but very short. Super tactile in that it pushes back on your finger, and very audible. I think I can hear it even with the ear protection in, okay? Very audible, very tactile. After that, you have that grit, that little catch again, hits the wall, breaks right on the wall, breaks at 90 degrees right on the wall. So the trigger has potential. If I can figure out what is causing that grit and that catch, the trigger definitely has potential in this gun to be a very good trigger, actually. But we'll see what happens. So actually, after I did that video, I probably put another 60-65 rounds through the gun, and I can say that still not great, but definitely getting better. The trigger definitely has potential. Very good reset on the trigger. Nice crisp break. It's just crazy gritty, okay? We'll see as I do plan to run this, as I always do. I put about 300 rounds through a gun, getting Miss Amanda to shoot it, shooting it with different types of ammunition, some jacketed hollow point, defensive ammo, 147, 124 steel, things of that nature. Getting it out to 300 rounds, because I don't want to do comparison videos with it if it starts to, have hiccups or breakages or malfunctions or anything like that. So I will do those follow-up videos. You will see them go up right after these, as I am accustomed to doing. But the trigger did get a little bit better. So, but still, it's not great. It needs some work. And one thing I know, if you're gonna, press the 500 mark for a pistol, you're gonna have to do a little bit better out of the factory on the trigger. Sure, it may get better, the grip may go away, it may be a fantastic trigger because it absolutely has potential, no question. Good crisp break, 90 degree right at the wall, as I mentioned, and a very good reset. Not as good as canic, but not far off from it either. Just got to get rid of that catch and that grit. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I gave you all the specs. One thing that I missed. I mentioned that it takes down like a Glock, but it's they say this is a Glock clone, but I kind of see it as a clone of a lot of different things, okay? So it does take down like a Glock, as in you pull the tabs down on the side, but it raises right up off the frame, just like a Canic does, okay? And it also has the red striker indicator on the rear, again, just like a Canic does. So in that way, it's kind of, you know, I guess like a Canic. On the rear, it even kind of has the Canic-ish look on it, okay? So, and you know, it could potentially be right there in competition with the Canic trigger if it wasn't for that catchiness and that grittiness. So I would say it's a crossover between a Glock and a Canic, which is not all bad, okay? But those are all your features on the gun. Again, just showcasing it. First video, I do plan to do at least 2 other videos. One of them would be just getting it out to 200 rounds, nothing more than running rounds, and then I'll do the different types of ammunition. What will it eat, if you will, or is it a picky eater? And then I'll get Miss Amanda to show up for that one. And then we'll start doing some of the comparison videos with the Echelon, the CZ, the Tisas PX9 Duty Comp, the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Comp, any other comp guns that I missed. We'll get them all compared. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was informative. So far, I can recommend the gun. Good American company. To God only be the glory.